How boring is it to be married? How boring is it? How dead has your life become when you get married? I haven't been married in a while. And I always believed that the way to keep marriage fresh was to get married every 2 years to somebody new. But you have to wonder. I never had kids with anybody, and so therefore I never got to find out how truly drab and depressing being married can be. Now, I hear it from you guys when you call in all the time and you are reporting from the front. And I know that many of you are just miserable. And you guys are not even the 1 out of 2 who've gotten a divorce. You're there. You're in the thick of it. You're like these guys who keep re-upping for Iraq. You know what I'm saying? The bombs are dropping around you. The casualties are piling up. And you're still in the fight. Like our proud men and women of the military, there you are. Dealing with enemy fire every goddamn night. How dull is it? How drab, how depressing is it? Well, listen to this little helpful story. This comes from something called AOL Personals. Yes, AOL Personals. Imagine how drab and depressing it is. Oh, baby. I'm just thinking about it. Yikes! No, I read this from AOL Personals. This is from AOL Personals. And this is a reminder. AOL Personals says they have the latest in love and dating news. And if what they're saying is true, this is a good reminder of why being married is so goddamn depressing. Here it is. By the way, I hate these words people are coming up with now. It started with Bennifer and Brangelina, and now it has worked its way into, like, the vocabulary. People this summer, you know, who can't afford to go on a real vacation talking about being on a staycation. Or women who have to pay alimony complaining about having to pay manimony. Yeah. Yeah. Well, here's one coming up right now. It's about to hit you over the head. This from AOL Personal says here, gentlemen, if you want to get your lady in the mood for love... By the way, anybody who ever listened to the top 40 hits of the 60s or 70s or early 80s, you know that love is actually another way of saying sex. Right? When Spencer Davis sang, "Give Me Some Lovin'," he wasn't asking that you marry him or cradle him in your arms. He wanted you to bang him. Give me some lovin'. The word love is definitely a code word for sex, but they couldn't say, you know, give me some humping on the radio. That radio station wouldn't have played that in 1966 or 67. So instead, the song was called "Give Me Some Love." Right? So when they talk about getting your lady in the mood for love, they're talking about sex. Gentlemen, if you want to get your lady in the mood for love, you need something that's even more powerful than foreplay. You need, wait for it, chore play. That's right. Chore play. Yes, that's the word from Parenting Magazine. That's a very sexy publication, by the way, which coined the term after it conducted a survey that revealed 15% of mothers say their idea of foreplay is their husband doing chores. Do the dishes, get lucky. Excuse me while I vomit a second here. Do the chores, get lucky. You're kidding me, right? Oh. Imagine being married and then this is what you have to do. Like, you want to get laid, you got to take out the garbage. Talk about a buzzkill. Let's say I'm anxious to get laid. And carrying out the garbage may make her excited. It may get her turned on. But me, I've lost interest. I have lost interest. If I have to mop the floor to get laid, it's not worth the trouble. It's not worth the trouble. You know that old expression on this program, TMW, too much work. Says here, and by the way, they're using this as a word now. Says here, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution reports that chore play can be a lot cheaper than draining the checking account for chocolate, roses, and expensive dinners out. You know what's even cheaper than that? Not getting married. Jesus. Says here, smart husbands learn to multitask, too, letting their wives have a half hour to themselves where they do the laundry and get the kids ready for bed. It's the unexpected gift of time that is the most romantic of all. Now that's hot. It says here, I'm quoting. Oh, yeah, that's hot. Let me do the laundry and get the kids to bed. You know that tent I've been pitching for the last couple hours? It's gone. Jeez. Scott Holtzman, professor of psychiatry and human behavior at Brown University, and author of the new book, The Secrets of Happily Married Women, told the Journal-Constitution, I call it the new romantic gesture. Women are looking for something that gives them the message that they've gone the extra mile, and they've done something that matters to them. Being in the kitchen and emptying the dishwasher is a real clear signal you are fighting for her love. Wasn't the point of getting married not to have to fight for love anymore? Not to have to fight for sex anymore? How about you guys who all call in here and tell me, you know why I want to get married? Because I want to have sex every night. I'm tired of going out to the clubs. I'm tired of going to the bars. This is what you have to look forward to. This is what's coming, boys. You're going to get married, and then you're going to have to do the dishes in order to get laid. Nowadays, when you get laid, what do? You leave a pile of dishes in the sink, you run out, you get laid, you come back, you call the pizza place, right? Imagine when you get married, and now she's cracking the whip. AOL Personals continues here. It says, guys, do note that women aren't turned on watching you iron your own shirts, but rather they are turned on by being relieved of their chores and given time to relax. This is what allows her to de-stress and shift gears so she wants to have sex and not just flop into bed and fall asleep instantly. Of course, how many of you boys have tried this? How many of you have tried doing chores for her, and by the time you got to bed, she'd already fallen asleep? And then she said, don't wake me up, I'm tired, don't touch me. Can't we do this another time? Jesus. Says here, there is one warning. Men can't engage in chore play as a calculated move to have sex. Well, isn't that what this article is recommending? Says here, if that's the case, he'd be better off with roses. Jim Singer, editor of MamaSaid.net. You always have to do what Mama says, right? Told the Journal-Constitution, they act like there should be a parade down Broadway for making the bed, I hear from moms. Of course you should help. It's your underpants on the floor. But if your intentions are genuine, you can count on a more amorous mate. You know what? If it takes that much mind reading when you're married to get laid, why get married? Why? How many of you guys like this idea of doing chores in order to get laid? How many of you think this is a good recommendation? Doesn't this just tell you one more reason why you shouldn't even get married?
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM.
You know what? You are the big thing that has happened to women, and they should just listen to you.
The Tom Leykis Show.
Yes, it is the Tom Leykis Show. Funny you should ask. It's 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Thank you for tuning in. All right. They came up with another stupid word. These are the words that get women to watch the news. Brangelina, staycation, manimony, chore play. Because the ladies don't like really reading the news very much or watching it on television. But if you give it a cute little word like that, they might pay attention. You know what's going on here. All right, how do you feel about this idea that people are married? Now the guy's being told to use household chores as a way to get their lady into bed. What do you think about that? John on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
How you doing, Tom?
Doing okay?
You know what, Tom? I've been married for about 10 years.
Wait a minute. You're how old?
I'm 27, man. I got out of the house at 17.
I got married immediately.
Like a dummy.
Oh, boy.
Let me tell you something, Tom. She gives me, let's do the chores. By the time, you know, she don't do nothing, you know? She just falls asleep. Don't touch me. Leave me alone. Let's do it some other day. I'm like, So, you know.
And how many kids did she talk you into having?
3.
Right, so now she uses them as the excuse, does she?
Hey, I'm fixed, man. There's no excuse now, but, I mean, hey.
No. I mean, she's tired from being with the kids. She's tired from helping the kids. She's tired of doing homework from the kids. She's tired. Right. So it's all about the kids, right?
It's all about the kids.
There we go.
And according to her, you know, I'm wasted. I'm energy. You know, it's a full-time job. And I say, that's a bunch of horse feathers.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bunch of horse feathers. Don't give me any of that. You decided to have kids with me? Do something with me. Come on. But, you know, like I said, you know, you don't want to do it? Find something on the side, you know?
So have you found something on the side?
Absolutely.
And you don't have to do her housework to get her to have sex with you?
Charlie.
That's right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? She's hot, too. You know what I mean?
I hope women who are making these demands, I hope they hear what you're saying.
You know, I just want to let the ladies out there know, don't ever get your man to do any house chores. You know what it does? It creates him to go find a piece of ass on the side.
Do you know how many men I know who've been told that the reason their wife won't have sex with them is because they don't take out the garbage or because they don't clean up after themselves?
Oh, I've been told that several times, Tom. But you know what I do? I just say, all right, see you. I like to watch them. Well,
yeah, the best way to avoid that problem is not to let a woman live where you live.
Right.
Then she can't complain about your ability to do chores.
But you gotta remember, Tom, when women, they try to manipulate us, you know what I mean? Mexican women are the laziest. They don't want to do nothing, you know? They don't want to put out. They hate to cook. They hate to do everything in general, you know what I mean? Yes, I'm just, you know, there's a rule to the exception. Some are not the same, you know? But I just want to let the guys know, don't get married. Do not get married. It's a waste of your time. Believe me, it's a waste of time.
Well, you know what my friends have told me, who are Mexican, they've told me if you're going to be with a Mexican, be with a real Mexican, not a Mexican-American.
My mom told me that, but I was an ignorant dummy. So.
Because anyway, they tell me Mexican-Americans are Americans.
They're lazy.
They act like Americans because they are Americans.
Absolutely, they're lazy. But anyway, Tom, I just want to share my story on the air, and I wonder if you could take me out Kobe style with the background chant of MVP.
I don't think we have a background chant, but we have Kobe style for you.
This is about us. She's so special to me. You're the beats in my heart. You're the air I breathe. She's so special to me.
It's 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Let's say hello here to, look at these, Wes on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello, Tom. How's it going, man?
Okay, Wes.
Hey, I've been married for 9 years. I have an unbelievably beautiful wife. She's the greatest woman in the world. She never asked me to do the laundry. She never asked me to watch the kids or anything like that. But what happens is that my wife has become this, I call her the mom, and she's become this just utterly non-sexual being since we've had children. And it's like I try to do things like the laundry, and I try to do things to take the pressure off, not because she demands it, but just because I want my wife, I want that sexual being where I don't have a dog staring me down and the kids banging on the door and, that stuff where you go to Vegas, and you just rock it out in the hotel all weekend long,
Let me ask you a question. If you divorced your wife today, or if you died, and your wife was forced to meet other men, do you think she'd refuse to have sex with them?
No. And you know what? You know what the funny thing is, Tom, is it's not that she's refusing to have sex. I probably have sex with her maybe 2 times a week. What it comes down to is because of the dog and because of the kids and because all the, housework, and she's just worn out and just used by the end of the day, that I have a hard time. I'm 30 years old.
But I'm telling you, if you left her and she had to fend for herself, her hair would grow longer. She'd find her way back to the gym. As beautiful as she may be now, she probably was better looking when you met her. And she would find a place to drop the kids so she could bang away in a hotel room for a weekend with sucker number 2.
Well, I wouldn't call myself a sucker, Tom, but, man, I'll tell you what, man, I understand why they created Viagra, because it's just one of those things, man, where, no matter what you do, it's just, there's just...
Well, we've talked about why they created Viagra. You know about that, right?
No, I
have you
heard that.
You know the people who endorse Viagra over the years? Bob Dole? Ever seen Mrs. Dole? No wonder he needs a pill.
God, Tom, I wish you know what? I'm going to be one of the people that actually send you the picture. I'll send you a picture of my wife, and I came out here from Dallas, and she's an LA 10. She's probably a 9 or an 8 now. But when I met her, she was up there, but she's still up there. And every once in a while, I get that glimpse, man. And so sometimes I'll go and I'll do the laundry. I'll take the kids with me.
But you realize if you didn't get married, you would not have to do that in order to get laid.
I realize that now, Tom, and sometimes, man, I think about it, and I think, God, with the money that I make now, it would be a sweet life. And there's a trade-off, and I know how you feel about marriage. There's a trade-off, but man, it's just sometimes it's just mind-numbing. You want to take a ball-peen hammer and just start smacking yourself in the head, because it's like, she wants you to get going, and it's like, I can't have sex with my mom. And that's pretty much kind of what you become. And she doesn't have short hair and any of that stuff. It's this incessant, you get home from work and it's, I had a horrible day, and just everything is doom and gloom. And it's just, I don't know, man. Some days I'm on top of the world because she's my best friend. But then some days I just want to jump off a building.
That's why I tell the guys, why do it?
Well, I will tell the guys that if you find somebody that you can spend the rest of your life with, and you don't mind at some point her sexuality just completely going out the window for an extended period of time, then by all means go for it. But if you're planning, like you said at the beginning, if you're planning to just bang away, man, marriage is not the way to go.
Well, I don't know a lot of guys whose sex drive goes away. I know a lot of guys whose sex drive goes away when they start looking at a 180-pounder.
Oh, no, she's not any close to that, but I can see why your sex drive would go away with a 180-pounder.
Oh, boy, there's a lot of that out there. Hey, Wes, thank you for the call. It's 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Here's Jessica on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Jessica.
I'm your worst nightmare. I know you hate me and you hate my kind.
I don't know what kind you are.
I'm the quintessential bitch wife, soon-to-be ex-wife.
Oh, it's certainly I have a problem with you girls. Yes, I do.
I know you do. And let me tell you that my story may help your listeners, because there is no such thing as exceptions. All these bitches are the same. We're all the same. I got married about 10 years ago, and we were together for 12, but married for 10 legally. And, yeah, I put out whenever I wanted. And if I didn't feel like it, well, I guess what? I didn't.
Now, did you know you would be that way before you got married?
No, I wasn't that way. I reeled him in good. I would give him all the sex he wanted. I was good at it, too. And, I reeled him in.
So your plan in the beginning was to reel him in with lots of hot sex.
Reel him in, Tom. I reeled him in. The self-rip. He proposed. We got married and had 2 children. And did you have a plan, like, when you would cut him off? Like, was it after the second kid or after you got married? When was your planned cutoff? Well, Tom, you're right. It's after the children come along. Women change. It's something that happens hormonally, and it's nothing that comes. It happens. Once the children get here, everything's gone. And, I would give him some whenever I felt like it, not when he felt like it. So, he ended up cheating on me. No surprise there, right?
And you got upset at him for cheating on you.
Oh, of course I did, and I'm taking him to the cleaners right now. And you know what? The judge does not care what he has to say. They're siding with me 1,000%, and I'm taking him for everything he's got.
Because you were married for 10 years?
We were married for 10 years, and like you said, I'm getting vaginamony. Is that what you call it?
Vaginamony.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting, and I'm getting him good.
And he's going to pay you forever? Is that
well, depends, because, I was a stay-at-home mom, so, I'm unemployed. So, as long as I don't get remarried.
Which you won't.
Well, of course not. Are you kidding me?
If you have a boyfriend, he'll move into what used to be your husband's house.
That's right. He'll move into whoever I'm with. I'll move in whoever I want in my house, because you know what? I have the kids. So his dumb ass has to go to the street or wherever he has to go. I really don't care. Now,
was this always your plan, or did you just become bitter and cynical as time went on?
I became bitter and I'm a bitch.
You became bitter and a bitch as time went on?
You know why, Tom? Because you're right. Marriage is a piece of crap. I should have never done it. And the sad thing is that I came to the realization that I'm stuck with the kids. So that's what made me bitter.
Right. But, of course, you got married at 17. Was that a smart thing to do?
No, that was the stupidest thing I could have ever done. But I should have never got married. I mean, if I could redo my life again, I would. And I guess that's what makes me bitter, the fact that I know that he can redo his life whenever he wants with whomever he wants. And I can't.
And no matter how much he has to pay you, ultimately, he'll be happier than you.
He has to pay me. But he will be happier than me. You're right. And I guess that's what drives women to do what I'm doing, which is taking him to the cleaners.
Of course, it's not his fault that it became that way.
It's not his fault, but I don't care. He's going to pay one way or another.
Yeah, well, see, again, I hope the men are listening, because this is why I tell them not to get married to women like you.
Yeah, you're right. Tom, I agree with everything you're saying. I know we're bitches, and we're bitter, and we become angry, and we will harm them. And the sad part about it is, Tom, that I know I do feel bad for him sometimes, because the judge just comes down on his butt every time we go to court. He's no match for me. I put on the waterworks. And believe me, the judge just falls all over people.
And let me guess, he's paying for your attorney, too.
He's paying for... Yeah, how did you know?
I've been divorced myself, too.
He's paying for my attorney. He's still paying the mortgage. He's still covering all the bills in my house. Because, I'm a stay-at-home mom, so naturally he has to do it. So, yeah, he's miserable for now. I know one day he'll be happy. I don't know. But as long as I could prevent him from being happy, you best believe I'm going to do it.
And have you been getting more ass than a toilet seat?
Have I what?
Have you been getting laid?
Oh, of course. You know what? I'm sleeping. I slept with his boss. That's something he doesn't know. And I'm going to let him know this. Watch. Once we get everything straightened out and I have everything I want, I'm going to tell him what I did. Because I was cheating on his ass, too.
Really?
Yes, you know what?
So you were, let me understand this. You were refusing to have sex with him because you were tired from having the kids and because you had all these changes, but you were able to have sex with his boss.
Not just his boss, other people. But let me tell you why, Tom. Because it's what you said all along. Marriage is boring. I got tired of him. It was nothing personal. I just was tired of him.
But you were the one who wanted to get married.
Yeah. both of us, actually, you know, because you're young and dumb and you want to go for it. And, you know, I'm just, Tom, I'm calling because I want dumbass guys out there to see that what you say is true. There is no exceptions. This is the way it rolls when you get married. This is the way it is. I didn't find him attractive. I didn't get horny with him, but you better bet I got horny with other people.
Wow, wow, wow. Guys, I hope you're paying attention.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866.
I took your advice staunchly, and I've been dating lots of different girls and banging all kinds of chicks. If you only knew. More ass than a toilet seat.
Love that.
Oh, jeez.
It's the Tom Leykis Show.
From Hollywood, my name is Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. We are talking about this new concept now being discussed in women's magazines, newspapers like the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, even on AOL. Chore play. Yes, get wifey to have sex with you. Turn her on by doing the dishes. Just kill me. 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Heather on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello. I just wanted to say that article is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Really?
Yes. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have 3 children at home. My husband works full-time. And I still have the energy every night to make sure that he's happy. Whether he wants it or not, that's his decision. But he knows that I'm happy.
You'll give it to him no matter what.
No matter what. I make sure that I'm presentable when he walks in the door so that I'm not some slobby lady, you know, in his sweatpants and T-shirts saying, oh, I'm so sleepy. So stupid. Come on now. We need to show these guys a little bit of something, or exactly what they do. They go and cheat.
By the way, these are the women who are, they're all shocked when their husbands cheat on them.
Go find someone out there that's going to give it to him.
That's right.
And I've been married for almost 9 years. So it's not like I just got married or anything.
Wait a minute, you're 25. You got married at 16?
Yes, I did.
16?
16.
Was that a good idea?
You know what? It worked for me. I'm still married to him. He's happy. I'm happy. We have 3 great kids. And, you know, it's not for everybody. I'm not.
Did you graduate high school?
I finished high school.
I mean, at the time you were supposed to finish it.
No, I finished early. He was going to join the military.
I see.
And my family's crazy, so he wanted to make sure that I was taken care of before he left.
And marrying you was a way to do that?
Yeah, it made sure that I was taken care of.
I see. Wowee. Oh, you did what you thought you had to do.
Exactly. And it works for us. I'm not, you know, like I said, I'm not going to lie and say that everybody should go out and get married at 16 because, you know, it worked for me and him, and we're still happy. He's my best friend, and, you know, we're both where we need to be.
All right. Well, Heather, thank you for that. Wow. John on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom. Dad, I love your show.
Thank you.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Cool.
I'm so glad I finally got through. I got to say, this short play, and don't worry, I'm not going to cuss on your show. I respect you too much for that, but what a crock. You know, first of all, in my opinion, about the only thing I do, I mean, I've got a great girlfriend. She's one of the, you'd call her one of the exceptions. I cook for her because I like to cook. It's something that I enjoy doing. But outside of that, I think most of these guys, you know, oh, yeah, I'm going to take out the trash. I'm going to mop the floor. I'm going to do the laundry. I'm going to iron your underwear, whatever, you know, and the women are probably going, you know, you think back to old days when guys never did that stuff, they're going, what a wimp. I don't even respect this guy anymore. Why I want to sleep with a man. I want to sleep with a guy who's going to stand up to me, not a guy who's going to cow down to me every minute.
Absolutely right. I really do believe that's true. I think once you agree to do this stuff, once you allow her to crack the whip.
Yes, and it's going to be expected from that day forward.
That's right. You're setting the bar.
To do it.
You are setting the bar.
Exactly. You're setting the standard, and she's going to go, okay, well, gee, maybe I'll give him a little tease, but first, guess what I'm going to get him to do for me?
Right. Like I always say, you know, if you didn't get married, you never had to do a household chore to get somebody to have sex with you. Never.
Yeah, and, well, I do have to admit, and I know you're probably going to hate me for this, but we actually are engaged. We are actually contemplating still living apart.
Why get married even?
You know, I can't. I know I'm in love,
but you can be in love without. You're in love now. You don't need to get married to be in love.
You know, I don't know. I can't really explain it. It's just the way I feel for her. She honestly, actually, she got to talk to you once before. She's the one that got me listening to you in the first place.
Right.
And she's talked to you on the phone. Actually, she called about champagne because we're both wine enthusiasts like yourself.
Right.
And one of the things that we're looking at is we both make very good money, both of us well over 6 figures, and we're looking at what kind of life that we can have together from a financial
But you can have a life, put it this way, you can have a life, you can buy a house and each own 50% of it without getting married.
Really? I didn't know that.
Of course, any two people could do that.
Interesting. Because I go,
you don't have to be married to do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we each have our own homes right now that we own.
But if you wanted to buy one really great house...
Which we want your place, and your new 20-acre place.
I bet you do. But
and one day we may have it.
Put it this way. The way it's going now with banks and mortgage companies, there'll be plenty more where that came from.
Oh, we're both bankers.
All right, so you know.
Oh, yes, we know.
There's blood in the streets. Now's the time. But you don't have to get married to do that.
Yeah, probably not. I don't know. I don't know. To me, it's almost symbolic because of the way I feel for her, I think.
Yeah, but it's the most expensive symbol you'll ever sign on for.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. But actually, you know what? I don't know. I don't think she's the type that would take me because she's got her own money. Actually, her net worth is more than mine.
Well, everyone says that until they get screwed.
Yeah, that's because they're marrying losers, though.
Yeah, I know. You're the exception to the rule, like all the other exceptions who call in here. What kind of rule is that if everyone's an exception to it?
I know. I tend to believe that I did find one of the very few exceptions out there.
Well, and I tend to believe that Santa Claus will be coming down my chimney December 24th. I tend to believe that.
I'll give you that.
I tend to believe the Lakers will win it in 7.
That I really do want to believe.
Yes. And you want to believe you're going to stay married and not get screwed, too.
You know, I think, I don't know. I just know we've been together now for 6 years. And the way things have gone, I feel really comfortable with it, actually.
Everybody does, but you've never lived with a signed contract. You've never seen how it changes people's motivation to do things. Let me give you an example that has nothing to do with marriage. Are you a sports fan?
Actually, typically not, no.
Not any sport at all?
Yeah, pro rodeo.
I mean a team sport. Ever basketball, baseball, football. Are you an American?
Yes, I am.
And you have no interest in team. No wonder you want to get married. And you have no interest in team. Well, believe me, once you get married, you're going to be down there at the sports bar with the rest of us.
Well, I have been married before and went through a divorce, but it was actually very amicable.
You're a very lucky guy. Okay, that's great.
I kept my 401k.
So you decided, that's wonderful, but again, you got very lucky, son. Okay, now let me just point this out to you. All right, you're not a sports fan, but most sports fans out there will relate to what I'm about to say. Nowadays, they have these huge contracts they give guys, you know, $200 million for so many years, whatever.
Right.
And now, some of them do perform. Like Alex Rodriguez is the most criticized individual, gets the most money, and he has certainly put up consistent numbers. Then you have other players. The Dodgers have signed a number of these. You know, the kind you pay lots of money to, and suddenly they stop showing up at the ballpark. Or suddenly they're getting hurt all the time. Or suddenly they're batting .227, and they have these inexplicable slumps. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
These players played great until you signed them to a contract. Suddenly, people who looked great before now look terrible. You know what I'm talking about?
I hear exactly what you're saying.
You have no idea how badly someone can play until you sign them to a big contract.
That's a good point.
Right? So as good as somebody looks, you know, Nomar Garcia-Parra looked like great ball player at one time. Now the guy can't play 3 weeks without getting hurt.
That's my ex-wife.
Well, it could be your future wife, too.
Well, yeah, you might have a point.
She's playing great now that she's in the, she's in her free agency. But
yeah.
you have no idea how she'll perform once she signs the contract.
You've got a good point. I will say this, Tom. Like I said, she's the one that turned me on to you. She totally listens to you, believes everything you say, you know, the 99. And as a matter of fact, you are number one on the top 5 people we'd love to have to dinner.
Look at that.
For both of us.
That's until you need a divorce lawyer. Then I'll move down to number 2.
Touche.
An example of a real ball player that I'm thinking about, there was a baseball player who played for the Dodgers named Adrian Beltre. Dodgers signed him when he was like 15 years old. They didn't know he was 15, but they signed him when he was like 15 years old. And finally, when he was about 26, 27 years old, in the final year of his contract with the Dodgers, he finally had the big year everybody was expecting. Over 30 home runs, over 100 runs batted in. He batted like .330 that year. He never had a year like that.
Wow.
And as a result of playing so well, the Dodgers said, you only had one good year. We're not paying you $15 million a year. Forget it. But the Seattle Mariners were all too happy to pay him $15 million a year for I don't know how many years.
Oh, wow.
So the Mariners signed him. And how do you think Adrian Beltre did when he went to play in Seattle, now that he had the big contract?
I think I know where you're going.
Stinks. But when they were up there in Seattle watching him hit 37 home runs in L.A., he sure looked good to them then.
Wow.
Now he's all theirs.
And they're losing out.
The Mariners just fired their general manager, Bill Bavasi, as a matter of fact.
That's right.
Yeah, well, what I'm trying to tell you is you don't want to marry Adrian Beltre.
No, and, well, I'm a guy anyway, so I wouldn't, but I see your point.
Well, maybe your name's Adrian. I don't know. But the point is, you do not want to marry, like, somebody who's in their year of free agency and then find out later, once they're signed to a contract, that they don't play as well as they did when they were angling for a contract.
That's definitely something to think about.
It is. I know you won't, but it is.
And you're right. My mind is made up.
Yeah, I know.
But I still love you, man.
All right, John. Thanks a lot for the call. I appreciate it. Our email address is my name. It's Tom at blowmeuptom.com. Tom at blowmeuptom.com. Or visit our MySpace. It's myspace.com/TOMLEYKIS. Hear the show streaming live at blowmeuptom.com.
The Tom Leykis Show.